What's good, y'all? This is Charles Madison of Nexxlegacy Radio, and I'm here just to kind of kick some game. You know I'm all about that legacy game, so I appreciate you listening. So tap in, subscribe, hit the notifications, and I'm here because I just feel like we all have to reminisce on moments and times in our lives, or if you weren't even born in specific decades, we all got to tap in and celebrate legacies. So I want to hit up the world with just some 70s key facts on hip hop, like the birth of it. Like I know a lot of people out there speculating or who's the first person to create the culture of hip hop and shit like that or whatever. But I mean, it's beyond that. I think there's a lot of key founders and who gave birth to it. So I don't think you can really just name one person. You just got to shout out the key founders as you see fit, right? So we all know hip-hop at its apex, in my opinion, Bronx, New York City, in the early to mid 1970s. It was all about just having something to do, because you got to think about the essence of how a lot of us was living back then. It was poverty, it was a lot of gang violence, it was just a lot of lack of resources in the Black and Latino community. So, I mean, you got to think about it. We all had what we had. So in some cases, we weren't distracted by the things that we didn't have. We just had each other, and we had certain things that we could be able to create and immortalize, in my opinion. And that's where it all kind of began. And one of the key founders, DJ Kool Herc, widely credited for launching hip-hop in like the 70s, 73. Story goes, he was back at his sister's back to school party, and he extended the instrumental breaks, funk soul records, using turntables. That was the start of the breakbeat DJing, and that's kind of how the core of it kind of developed. So then you got to really think about it. People had to go buy records. People had to go and use what they had. Scratching hella records was, you grew up in a household that had records. If you had that shit, there was a good chance you were probably in trouble at a time or two. So it was a lot of DJing, mixing, scratching to create new sounds. MCing became a solid thing back then. A lot of it was rhythmic, spoken word over beats. I feel like the 80s kind of apexed with breakdancing, but there was a little bit of that towards the 70s as well or whatnot. So it was out there. Graffiti was a thing for expression and identity. I know a lot of people saw it as negative, but you had a lot of talented people. If you go and take a look at a lot of classic old school 70s graffitis and shit like that, right? So the early influence of hip-hop, it was just a core Jamaican sound. Spoken word, funk soul. It was just a consciousness among us as black folks back then. It was late 60s, early 70s, all that shit, right? So it was real important to at least express it or get to the point where this is how we was really feeling, right? So the formation of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, it started in the late 70s. Grandmaster Flash teamed up with Melly Mel, Kid Creole, Cowboy, Scorpio, and Raheem. They developed a quick chemistry, cutting and repeating break beats and energizing the dancers. They started perfecting a lot of different things. You kept hearing a little bit with scratching, backspinning, punch phrasing, making DJing an art form. We don't get this art form these days, but they had to find something and turn it into something more, right? And it was a huge cultural shift. And they were one of the first groups to elevate hip-hop from party music to social commentary. The 1982 hit The Message, groundbreaking, still one of the most influential hip-hop songs of any generation, focusing on real life struggles in urban America back in the day. That's how the legacy is created, y'all. The first hip hop group to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2007. They opened the door for politically and socially conscious rap. Because you gotta think about it. Listen to certain core parts of The Message and you're gonna see that a lot of this shit still is resonating today. and it helped shape hip hop into a global movement. And you gotta keep it true when it comes to when it all began. From local to global. What began in neighborhood parks spread across New York and then across the country and the world. And it was a cultural empowerment that hip-hop gave a marginalized community a platform to express themselves, tell their stories, influence fashion, language, activism. A lot of what our folks was rapping about back then wasn't to self-boast and things like that. We had a lot of confidence, and it showed on a lot of records. But the deep part of where it all came from was from the hoods and the struggle. And that's how hip-hop needs to stay and be remembered and recognized for what it is, what it was, and where we need to be moving forward. We need creativity. We need more. So let's be more, people. This is Charles Madison with Nexxlegacy. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification buttons, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.